Hi, welcome to 2020 Tasty Treats Applique series Things That Go. We're doing a whole lot of things that go somewhere, and we're well into it. These are the ones that we are doing. We're doing them row by row, so we're actually already up to number 15, which is going to be this one here, this rubbish truck. So I thought I'd just show you how I'm going to mark the word rubbish. You could applique it, you could do all sorts of things. If you've already signed up for the pattern on GourmetQuilter.com, you'll have something like this to trace. And other than that, you could go and sign up if you'd like to on GourmetQuilter.com for 2020 Tasty Treats. So with this truck here, he's got a little stripy panel here. So what I've done here, well, I've already positioned it, but I've just put some stripes of another fabric over the top to create that stripy panel. So I've just used the pattern there for that. And then this word rubbish, it doesn't have to be a rubbish truck. You might have any number of other things. You might have a nice pictorial fabric. I'm going to write rubbish on mine because apparently that's what I do. So I'm just going to use my light box. So I can use the pattern here to trace with. I've got a fabric marker here, which will set in the fabric. I often use just a fine Pigma pen. I'm just making it a bit thicker this time, so it's a thicker sort of marker. So if I want to trace that, I'm going to place that down so that, because I've got it back to front for the tracing, now I want to trace it around the right way. I don't want my rubbish going backwards. So I can see that there, and if I lay my piece still with the fusible web paper on the back over the top there, and I've already started, but I thought I'd just leave a couple of letters here just to show you how I'm doing that. So sometimes you do need to check that your marker's not going to bleed too much, so just have a scrap of your fabric that you're using, and this one just wants to bleed just a little bit, but not enough to worry me. So just be aware of how things can move and always try something out on a little sample first. So I'm going to do this other B. Sorry, just set this brightest it can go, that's it. So what I would do is I would outline first. So I'm just going to outline just lightly, very lightly with the pen. I'm not want to press hard because that's when you really do have problems with things bleeding more, if you hold the pen on or push down too hard. And then I'm just going to fill that in, just again fairly light action. You don't want to be, as I said, pressing super hard because it's fabric and it's going to absorb the ink, so it'll cause it to spread more than you want it to. So just by doing that outline first, it seems to help contain it, seems to know where it's going. And then the S, same thing, I'm just going to outline that. So I've done all the letters exactly the same sort of way. You could almost applique this. This would be just about big enough to cut out. It would be a little bit fiddly. You could just do it in free motion stitching, and then you could even colour in later, or you could just not have a rubbish truck, or you could do something like I'm doing with a felt marker, a fabric marker. So that's on there quite nicely now, so I don't need the light box anymore, and I can continue on positioning my shapes on here. So I'm actually almost done. I've got my truck cabin piece on the front there, and I've got the handle, the window, I've got the wheels and the wheel centres, I've got my stripy bit. So I really just need to put this piece on as well. And I'm just going to position. So I'm using steamer seam, which is a little bit sticky on the back when you take the paper off. So it just helps you put things down and they kind of stay where you put them. Kind of nice. So there's my rubbish truck, which I think is looking pretty reasonable. And I'm just going to press that now. So the other thing, if you're using marking pens, is just to keep an eye on what you need to do to set them. Some of them vary a little bit. This one says to let it air dry, but you can heat it if you want to, but not to wash it for 24 hours, so that you don't want to risk things like that. So just be aware of different pens having different instructions. So because I'm free motion stitching, I'm going to put a stabilizer behind. I'm using this cotton batting as a stabilizer, and I'm going to stitch through all of that. So I'm ready to go to the sewing machine now, and there's nothing terribly complicated about this. I've just got to outline the panels. I'll go up and down on the stripes and the wheels and things. So perhaps I'll just start on one of these wheels. I might do both of the wheels, so I can come around the wheel and then come along and do the other wheel. I'll have to do the wheel centres separately. But I like to not stop and start too often if I can help it. So by going around one wheel, and if I started there, I can now just come along here and get to the next wheel. And then I'll need to stop and start on the next section. I might do the stripes next, and so I'll just come around those and up and down on the side of each stripe as well. So I might see you back when I've done a little bit more. So I'm just coming around the last piece now, which is the bit with my writing on it. I've done the window, the cabin, the door handle, I've done the stripes, I've done the wheel centres, pretty much done everything except my label. You could put, instead of rubbish, it could be a particular name. You might have a truck, you might need have a company that you want to put a name on something. So you can use the felt markers, fabric markers for things like that. So it's just another thought anyway. But I'm quite happy with my rubbish truck here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to give it a quick press, and it can go and park itself up with the other things that go up here on my wall, or down here on my wall now. So that was number 15 out of 20, so we're doing pretty well. We're getting through these. We've got another few to go. And so that was it. If you'd like more information, please go to GourmetQuilter.com for tasty treats, or I'll see you again next time with things that go applique number 16.